So recently I had a vehicle come to me from Alabama. The gentleman had an oil cooler leak and he wanted us to repair it. During that process, we ended up taking off the turbo to be able to get to the oil cooler on this 3.0 CRD Diesel. It wasn't good. This guy's turbo was squidoosh. And I had a time that I was supposed to get the vehicle back to the guy, and the turbo was no good. Dealership tells me $3,200. This guy calls me and tells me that it's going to be $2,300 to fix this turbo. So I took a little jaunt over to his place. He broke it down to me. During that process, he decided he was going to fix it for us, or at least try. I mean, can't break what's already broken, right? And remember, if anyone else can do it, you can do it too. So let's check out the inside of this turbo on this Mercedes and see what it looks like. Sick. So this is, what different parts do you have sitting here, just as a little describer?
This is your complete turbo setup. You have your compressor cover of your turbo, your exhaust turbine housing of your turbo, your bearing housing. I didn't take the top assembly apart yet, so the seal plate and everything is still on the inside. I did disassemble the lower part of the turbo, took apart the vane system on it, so all the vanes and everything still function. That can be cleaned up and salvaged. Otherwise than that, we could put a whole new one of those right on in, just be done with that, and I didn't have to worry about cleaning it. Other than that, you got 3 little rollers. Those 3 rollers, I definitely recommend those get replaced. This helps everything kind of nice and roll smoothly. Same with the ring, same with the control ring. Replace that too, because everything nice and slides nice and easy, so we don't get any kind of built up, any kind of friction material on this setup will start to kind of malfunction and make your actuator act up a little bit. And sometimes you can cause your actuator to overwork, and then your actuator will short out if this starts getting too gummed up.
All right, James. So what happened to this turbo, buddy?
Well, on this one here, it looks like she's just got a little bit of an oil leak issue. With the oil leak issue on the hot side of the turbo, as you can see on the bottom side of the heat shield, or the shroud of the turbo, you can see the oil accumulation. That oil cooks and it just carbons right on up, and what it does is it eats and drives into the back of the wheel. It'll drive into the back of your exhaust turbine wheel, and it'll take it out of balance. It'll start carving that right on down, shaving it down. And what it also does is if you act like your turbo really spins and turns kind of hard, it's because this is a friction material. It's acting like a brake system, and it's slowing your RPM speed right down on your turbo, and you will lose a lot of performance.
Something just went off in old James's brain, and he's decided that maybe he can fix this thing for us. So do you think we can fix this one, James?
I'm gonna try to take a look at and fixing this one here. I'm just gonna pick these rings off here and see if these rings grooved up, because I can replace these rings. I know I got rings. I gotta see if there's any kind of step in the shaft material. And as far as this ball bearing race goes, that should have came off, but it seized on the shaft. That does happen because of the heat and tempering on it. So what I like to do is I like to cool the shaft down. I'll put the shaft in the freezer so the metal gets cool. And as that metal gets really cool, I'll come out here and just really quick, just hit this ball bearing race, a little bit extra heat, and she'll slide right off. Boop, fall right off.
That's awesome, dude.
Minimal damage, and I'll do a little bit of light buffing with it. Just a little bit of light buffing with some emery cloth, just to take a little edge off of it, and she should go right back smoothly, nice together again.
All right, sweet. All right, so, that's not necessarily, from stuff that I read, that's not necessarily the way, but because this is a Sprinter turbo, and this actual turbo is from an ML 350, we can't get another turbo for this affordably. So James is going to keep his fingers crossed, and we're going to do a little bit of work to this. If it's too bad, he's going to throw it to the wolves, and we're going to have to bite the bullet and bite down hard. Because
it was a working turbo, so still being a functioning working turbo, just started having a little bit of hiccup with an oil leak issue. But if we can address this oil leak issue, it probably did not damage the turbo, and it could be a simple cleanup and repair, and it's a done fix.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so, because that thing was like $1,700 from your vendor, but we can't get it there, and we would have to go to the dealership. Well, let's just say the stealership. And we already know that that's going to be much more than that.
Absolutely.
So hopefully we can get this thing put back together. Dude, James nailed it. Took the turbo apart, rebuilt it, put it in the Sprinter, worked like a champ. The customer said that this thing never had as much power as it has now. That's freaking awesome. And guess what? 75 bucks. I ended up paying him $200 cold hard cash because he was a lifesaver. Saved us over $3,000 on this turbo. Now, I know what's going to happen is you folks are going to get a hold of me and you're going to want to send me your turbo and you're going to want it fixed for 75 bucks. It's not going to happen. I mean, you could not help enough people to be able to do that. So please don't expect that. But you can expect us to try to save you some bucks. James just said, ship them to me. I'll get them over to him. He just works there at the turbo place. So if he's ever out on his own, he wants to have this avenue to be able to conduct business in the future. Keep that in mind, folks. This video was a part of another video that I had made that's like 17 minutes long that we talk about why I did what I did and how I got to the price that I got to. So check that out on our Sprinter playlist. You'll be amazed. Show you how to handle vendors, how to talk with them, keep some money in that old corn store down below. Remember, if anyone else can do it, you can do it too. Don't be the next to them. Be the absolute first to you. God bless.